The arena of Zytheron Prime was vast, an open expanse of polished obsidian floors, glowing energy walls, and the echo of thousands of spectators from across the quadrant. Princess Alara Vale stood atop the dais, silver blue hair cascading over ceremonial armor that shimmered like liquid metal. Her eyes, sharp, intelligent, unyielding, scanned the human who had dared to attend her planet uninvited. Marcus Kane, human explorer, trader, and former soldier, stepped forward, unsure if courage or foolishness had brought him here. He had heard the stories of Solara's challenge. Defeat my champion in single combat, and I am yours to choose. He had never fought anyone like this before. Not an alien with superior strength, reflexes, and centuries of combat training compressed into a lifespan of what humans considered decades. The arena erupted in noise as Solara raised a hand. "Champion," she announced. Her voice carried over the speakers with magnetic authority. "You faced a human. Defeat him, or die in the attempt. And human," she turned her gaze sharply on Marcus, "if you fail, your species will know you were weak." Marcus felt the weight of her words, and the hundreds of eyes of Valorian nobility and distant planetary delegations pressing on him. He had no idea what he was getting into. Solara's champion emerged, Kael Draven, a hulking Valorian warrior whose reputation alone could crush men's spirits. Every muscle glimmered beneath his combat suit, his eyes, like polished amber, fixed on Marcus with quiet contempt. "You are human," Kael said in his deep, resonant voice. "Do you understand what this means?" "I do," Marcus replied, tightening his grip on his makeshift combat staff. Kael laughed, a low, echoing sound that rippled across the arena. "Then I hope you enjoy being broken." Solara watched, curiosity and amusement in her eyes. She had never expected a human to accept her challenge so willingly. Most fled, most bargained, most begged for mercy. Marcus did neither. The fight began with Kael charging forward, speed faster than Marcus anticipated. He barely dodged, feeling the heat of energy blades scrape past his shoulder. He countered with a swing aimed to keep Kael at bay, but the Valorian blocked with inhuman strength. Every movement tested Marcus's human limitations, yet he adapted, relying on wit, unpredictability, and timing rather than raw power. Solara's eyes narrowed, not in anger, but intrigue. This human, so small, so fragile by his species standards, was surviving. He wasn't just surviving. He was thinking, using ingenuity and improvisation that Valorian warriors were not trained to counter. "Impressive," she muttered, more to herself than anyone else. Marcus stumbled but regained his footing. "I'm just getting started," he whispered under his breath. The crowd was a mix of shock, disbelief, and amusement. Valorian nobles whispered, alien spectators gasped, and Solara's advisors murmured anxiously. "She won't be pleased if he survives this," one whispered. Solara's lips curved into the faintest smile. "Let him try. Humans are unpredictable." And in that unpredictability, Marcus found hope. By the end of the first bout, Marcus had survived Kael's brutal assault, not without injury, but alive, standing, and still thinking. Solara's eyes were fixed on him. There was something there that no one had seen before in the arena: respect, interest, curiosity. Marcus knew the fight was only beginning, and that the human spirit, courage, ingenuity, refusal to yield, was about to test not just Kael Draven, but the expectations of an entire alien empire. The arena hummed with energy. Hundreds of eyes watched, but Marcus Kane had learned not to think about them. Not yet. Survival came first. Kael Draven circled him like a predator, each step creating a soft shockwave that made the polished floor vibrate. Every Valorian warrior had trained for decades to anticipate attacks, but Marcus wasn't trained in their methods. He was human, unpredictable. "You relied too much on brute strength," Marcus muttered under his breath, ducking a swing that would have shattered a normal human shoulder. Kael snarled, "Do not lecture me, human." Marcus noticed the arena walls pulsing with energy barriers. A glimmer of hope. He could use them strategically. Kael's strikes were powerful, precise, and terrifying, but Marcus had one advantage humans often did: improvisation. He baited Kael into swinging, then rolled beneath the Valorian's legs, grabbing a loose energy conduit on the floor. He swung it like a staff, catching Kael off guard. The crowd gasped. Even the Valorian nobles murmured. Solara's eyes widened, not in shock, but in recognition. This human was learning, not just surviving, but understanding her champion in real time. "You are remarkable," she whispered to herself. "He sees patterns they assume cannot exist." Kale roared and attacked again, faster this time, using his wings to glide with unnatural speed. Marcus ducked, spun, and used momentum to leap onto a raised platform. "Predictable," Kale hissed, but Marcus grinned. "Not humanly predictable," he corrected, swinging a loose panel from the arena infrastructure to create a barrier between them. The fight became a chess match, Marcus's human intuition against Kale's trained aggression. For every strike, there was a counter. For every leap, a calculated move. Solara's curiosity deepened. She leaned forward on the dais. Her arms crossed, but her pulse quickened. This human, he was learning faster than anyone expected. By the third hour, both fighters were battered. Kale's armor bore scorch marks. Marcus's body ached in ways humans were not meant to endure. But then something happened. Kale paused mid-attack, noticing Marcus protectively shielding a loose energy conduit. Marcus wasn't just defending himself. He was using it to shield others, minions, support personnel, or even spectators who might have been in harm's way. Solara's eyebrows rose. He fights for more than himself. Kale's amber eyes flickered. "A human has honor," he muttered. Marcus seized the moment. Using Kale's hesitation, he triggered the conduit, sending a controlled shockwave across the floor. Kale stumbled, not defeated, but disoriented enough for Marcus to gain an advantage. The crowd erupted. Gasps, cheers, and whispers swept through the arena. From her perch, Princess Solara watched Marcus adapt, improvise, and strategize. He wasn't just surviving. He was thriving in an environment designed to break humans. Her pride as a ruler urged her to maintain control. But curiosity and admiration pulled her forward. She muttered, almost to herself. "You are not what I expected." Her advisors whispered nervously. The human had outlasted 2 hours of combat, longer than any Valorian champion should have survived. Solara's voice, calm yet commanding, rang across the arena. "End the fight if he cannot continue." But Kale shook his head. "He will continue. I will allow it." Solara frowned. She had not anticipated this. The human had earned not only her attention, but also Kale's respect. Marcus's stamina was waning. Every muscle screamed, every breath burned. But he saw something Kale did not, the arena's structural weak points. He dodged a spinning kick and vaulted off a side rail, knocking a floating platform into Kale's path. The Valorian stumbled, and Marcus exploited the opening with precise strikes, not to kill, but to demonstrate skill, endurance, and ingenuity. Solara's pulse quickened, not out of fear, but fascination. She had thrown countless warriors into this arena, but no one had ever fought like this. And Marcus, human to the bone, wasn't just fighting for survival. He was fighting for honor, for curiosity, for the respect of the alien princess who had underestimated him from the start. As the fight ended, temporarily paused for exhaustion, Marcus stood in the center of the arena, blooded, bruised, but upright. Solara descended from her dais. For the first time, she approached without ceremony, without distance. "You survived longer than any champion," she said. "And you think, adapt, and endure. You fascinate me, human." Marcus swallowed. "I'm just a man. I do what I must." Solara's lips curved. "Most men cannot endure what you just did. But you are different." The arena emptied slowly, leaving the princess and the human alone. Marcus realized the fight had already shifted. It was no longer just about defeating a champion. It was about earning the attention, curiosity, and perhaps respect of an alien princess who had never known vulnerability in a human. HFY was alive in that arena. Courage, adaptability, and resilience overcoming expectation. And Marcus? He had only just begun. The arena smelled of ozone and sweat. The energy barriers hummed, the polished obsidian floor now scratched and scorched. Hours of combat had passed, yet Marcus Kane stood upright, bruised and bleeding, but unbroken. Kale Draven loomed over him, exhaustion visible in the Valorian stance, though he remained deadly. Every attack Marcus countered was met with sharper strikes. Every dodge became more precise. Marcus's human ingenuity, his unpredictability, was slowly eroding the champion's confidence. Marcus observed Kale's movements with a calm born of desperation and strategy. The Valorian had unmatched strength, but his fighting style relied on predictable, lethal patterns. Marcus didn't have Kale's raw power, but he had adaptability. Using the arena environment, Marcus launched a small energy panel that ricocheted off the walls, briefly blinding Kale. While the Valorian recovered, Marcus rolled beneath him, striking his legs to destabilize his footing. The crowd murmured in disbelief. This wasn't supposed to happen. Humans were fragile. They were not built for alien combat. Yet here Marcus was, turning survival into tactical brilliance. Solara's eyes widened. She leaned over the rail, fascinated. A human who could survive a champion's assault, yes, but more than that, a human who could think, adapt, and anticipate faster than trained Valorians. This is remarkable, she muttered to herself. He isn't just surviving. He is mastering the impossible. Kale, frustrated, roared and unleashed a flurry of strikes designed to overwhelm. Marcus barely evaded, rolling across the arena floor and using the momentum to push Kale into the arena's energy barrier. For the first time, Kale faltered. A Valorian warrior never falters. He snarled, realizing the human had earned a kind of respect through sheer perseverance. You are not like the others, Kale admitted, gritting his teeth. Marcus's chest heaved, sweat and blood mingling, but his eyes never wavered. Neither are you, he replied quietly, though firmly. Solara felt her chest tighten. The human's voice carried clarity, honor, and fearlessness, qualities she had never seen in someone so physically inferior to her champion. And yet, they commanded attention. As the battle paused for a brief reprieve, Solara descended to the edge of the arena floor herself. Not as ruler, not as observer, but as someone curious, intrigued, and, perhaps, admirative. You are human, she said softly, stepping closer. And yet you move like a warrior bred on my world. I move like I have to survive, Marcus replied, wincing as he adjusted a cut on his arm. She tilted her head, considering him. Survival, yes, but also courage, strength, something my people rarely see in others, yet you carry it naturally. Marcus looked away, embarrassed. I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to survive. Her lips curved, a faint, almost teasing smile. Impress? Perhaps. But you've done more than survive. You've made me question everything I assumed about humans, and my champion. While Marcus and Kale fought, whispers rippled through the Valorian court. Solara's advisors were anxious. She cannot let a human succeed, one counselor hissed. It would undermine centuries of tradition. Perhaps she already respects him too much, another suggested nervously. Solara ignored them, focusing on Marcus. There was something different about this human, something pure and undeniable. In a society where loyalty was forced, Marcus earned respect without intimidation, hierarchy, or fear. That, she realized, was dangerous and fascinating. As Kale lunged with a spinning attack, Marcus feinted a retreat, leading the Valorian toward the arena's edge. With calculated precision, he grabbed a loose scaffolding beam and swung it like a pendulum. Kale stumbled back, barely catching himself, while Marcus took the moment to strike a controlled blow, not to harm, but to demonstrate skill. The crowd gasped again. Whispers turned into cheers. A human! He can actually challenge a champion. Solara's eyes gleamed. She had expected humans to be fragile, short-lived, predictable. This one was extraordinary. That evening, as the arena emptied for the night, Solara approached Marcus. She no longer wore the full ceremonial armor, just a ceremonial tunic, simple yet commanding. You are unlike any I have ever seen, she said, studying his battered form. You survive, adapt, and endure, and yet you still maintain honor. Marcus wiped blood from his brow. I don't know about honor. I just do what I have to. Solara stepped closer, studying him intently. Humans, your species is underestimated. And yet, here you stand. Perhaps the galaxy has been wrong about you all along. Marcus chuckled weakly. Maybe, or maybe I just got lucky. Her laugh was soft, musical, but laced with something deeper, a mix of relief, admiration, and intrigue. She had thrown countless warriors into the arena, but none had made her feel this. Solara realized something she had never admitted before. She wanted to see more, to understand this human, to see if courage alone could truly bridge the gap between species, between worlds, and perhaps hearts. The arena was silent, except for the distant hum of energy barriers and the crackle of tension in the air. Hours of combat had passed, each moment testing Marcus Kane beyond what any human, or Valorian, should survive. Kale Draven, the champion, stood across from him. Both fighters were battered. Both were bleeding. But only one could walk away with the final nod of victory and the attention of the alien princess who had dared him to fight. Kale charged, wings unfurling, energy blades ready to strike. Marcus had no more tricks left, except one. Using every ounce of human ingenuity, he baited Kale into overextending, exploiting the champion's momentum. Rolling, dodging, and striking with calculated precision, Marcus created an opening, a brief, decisive gap. Kale stumbled. Marcus pressed forward, not to harm, but to demonstrate skill, endurance, and strategic mastery. The arena erupted. Gasps, cheers, and disbelief cascaded through the stands. A human, not trained in alien combat from birth, had outmaneuvered a Valorian champion. Princess Solara Vale stood atop her dais, stunned. She had expected humans to be fragile, unadaptable, and predictable. This human, had not only survived but demonstrated courage, ingenuity, and adaptability far beyond what Valorians trained for decades could accomplish. Her pulse quickened, not from fear, but fascination, admiration, respect, and something she refused to name aloud yet. He's not just surviving, she whispered. He's teaching me something. The truth hit her with a clarity that startled even her. Humans were underestimated at every turn. Their strength wasn't always in raw power. It was in courage, creativity, and the refusal to yield. Princess Solara Vale stood atop her dais, stunned. She had expected humans to be fragile, unadaptable, and predictable. This human, had not only survived but demonstrated courage, ingenuity, and adaptability far beyond what Valorians trained for decades could accomplish. Her pulse quickened, not from fear, but fascination, admiration, respect, and something she refused to name aloud yet. He's not just surviving, she whispered. He's teaching me something. The truth hit her with a clarity that startled even her. Humans were underestimated at every turn. Their strength wasn't always in raw power. It was in courage, creativity, and the refusal to yield. The council murmured. The spectators gasped. And Solara, Princess of Zytheron Prime, descended into the arena herself. She approached Marcus, her posture regal, yet something softer in her gaze. You, she said, voice calm but commanding, have done what none of my warriors could. You have challenged the impossible and survived. You have shown strength, honor, and ingenuity. You have earned my attention. Marcus swallowed. I just did what I had to. Solara smiled faintly. That is exactly why you stand apart from all others. Humans, you are unpredictable, unyielding, and fearless in ways my people rarely see. Perhaps that is why the galaxy fears you, yet underestimates you still. Marcus felt something he hadn't expected. Recognition. Not pity, not dismissal, but admiration from an alien princess whose empire had once considered his species insignificant. In that arena, history shifted. Solara had dated him, expecting compliance or failure. Instead, she received courage, skill, and respect in human form. HFY had been proven once again. Humans were underestimated, fragile seeming, yet capable of incredible resilience, ingenuity, and heart. Solara extended her hand to Marcus. Come, she said softly. You've earned more than victory. You've earned my trust, and perhaps more. Marcus took her hand, feeling a connection that went beyond species, beyond protocol, beyond expectation. In a galaxy built on hierarchy and bloodlines, a human had triumphed, not by raw power, but by resilience, intelligence, and courage. The crowd erupted into or in silence simultaneously, knowing they had witnessed something extraordinary, a human rewriting the rules of expectation for an alien empire. Months later, Marcus and Solara trained together, strategized together, and shared moments of quiet conversation under alien moons. The Valorian court had accepted him, not because he was human, but because he had earned it through courage, ingenuity, and honor. Solara often remarked quietly, "I thought humans were weak. I thought they were myths. I was wrong." And Marcus would smile. HFY isn't about strength alone. It's about courage when all odds are against you, ingenuity when the rules seem impossible, and humanity, literally and figuratively, when the galaxy expects nothing. A human had defeated a myth. A human had earned an alien princess, and the galaxy would never forget it.